very excited this evening to join Kenyans. And first of all, I want to appreciate Kenyans and thank them for the patience. You know, some few weeks back, I communicated to Kenyans that we'll be giving our direction in terms of where we head politically. And it has taken us actually more than those weeks, because it's a thought that, and it's an engagement we have been having for quite a long time. So I want to appreciate Kenyans for joining us this evening. I also want to appreciate the great people of Kiharu for giving me an opportunity to be a leader in this country. So kwa watu wa Kiharu, hata wakitutazama wakiwa kule nyumbani, nikiwa hapa kama MP wa Kiharu, natoa pongezi zangu kwa watu wa Kiharu kwa kunipea nafasi ya kutumikia nchi yetu. Na nitakuwa nachanganya lugha, nitaongea kwa Kiswahili na pia nitaongea kwa Kizungu. Kwa sababu ningetaka pia nikitoa hii hotuba tushirikiane pia na wazazi wetu wale wanatutazama. That is why I'll be gravitating around the two languages. I want to appreciate all my friends who have come even before I proceed. This was meant to be a press conference, but I see the hall is already full, even outside and inside. So kwa nyinyi marafiki wangu wote ambao mmefika hapa from all corners of Kenya, I want to appreciate you. Asanteni sana. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the leaders who have joined us. Today, we wanted this day to be a day of the message that we have for Kenyans. And therefore, we invited a few leaders. And I am glad that all the leaders that we invited are here. I want to appreciate my senior and a leader we all know, Governor James Orengo. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate my brother, the Member of Parliament for Udai, Mheshimiwa Dan Mwashako. Na pia ningetaka nitabue senior counsel ambaye ni Senator wa Nyamira Okongo Omogeni. Asante sana. They'll be getting a chance later as we proceed. I have been carrying a heavy burden, and I have to say this to my compatriots, the people of Kenya, because I believe, even as I make a political decision, these are the kind of decisions we have made previously, and there are some lessons we have gained out of that. And therefore, my heart has been burdened and have been burdened for many months, because I have been thinking and praying that in whatever direction I take, politically speaking, that the people of Kenya must be the great consideration that I have. I have participated before in national campaigns, as you all know. Na nikazunguka Kenya mzima. And through the lessons of campaigns and the lessons during governance, I have come to appreciate that it's actually easier to campaign than to govern. And I say so because as we participated in the campaigns last year, and I'm saying this in good faith, I realized even after we won that the real battle was not in the campaigns. The real battle was in the deliverables that Kenyans expected. And I have to say, at some point I was disappointed. And I'm saying this again in good faith, because we had a captain, and I always think that as you head forward as a leader, you must be crystal clear on where you are taking the people. Unfortunately, after we won, I want to be honest with Kenyans that we engaged in a lot of trial and error, and especially in the beginning years. And that is the reason I have been having a burden, that whatever I do in terms of politics, it has to be based on the right governance after the win, even as we head towards the winning. And the decision we are making today, and I'm communicating to Kenyans today, is on how we proceed forward. But as you all know, the choice on the table this evening, or the decision we are making, it is not about where we were and where we should be. Where we were, we left. It is a matter of the decision we'll be making at the end of this press conference and briefing is what will be our engagement. Where are the people of Kenya as we make this decision? Not just today, in terms of communication as we go around the country, but also past August next year. That to me is a more important and weighty matter. And as I have said as I was starting, it is a burden I've been carrying, because as we engage as leaders, as we engage this against the other, the Kenyan people are literally fighting for survival. And therefore, in my opinion, as we head forward, what I'll be communicating later, we must be crystal clear on the kind of things that we want to deliver to our republic, and especially the children of God who are the people of Kenya. As leaders, we have that obligation, and it has to be at the center of what we are doing. And as I get there, I'll give a few points in terms of the kind of things I think must form our campaigns and must form our deliverables as a team on this side of opposition, but I'll also be sharing how to deliver them. I have taken a lot of time. As I've been silent, wakati nimekuwa nimenyamaza, ni vizuri niseme, nimekuwa nikiangalia nchi yetu ya Kenya in all the sectors. And I have actually single-handedly, with a very small team, come up with almost a full booklet. It's not a manifesto. We have heard this word many times. I have had an opportunity to be at a place I'm serving Kenya, where I had the bird's eye of Kenya across all the sectors. So I have taken time to scroll through every sector. What is it that we can do to the people of Kenya? What is it that we can do in every sector? So that after next year, August, Kenya becomes a much better country than even where President Mwai Kibaki left. And as I say this, allow me to say for those who are watching us for the first time and hearing maybe about Kiharu for the first time. Kiharu constituency, which I represent, is a very vast constituency. In fact, our two neighbors are smaller than Kiharu in all respects. Landmass, number of voters, landmass. Number of voters, landmass, number of schools, across all respects. And I am very glad to stand here as Member of Parliament for Kiharu, serving my second term, because we have been able to transform many things across the education sector. And I will name just two. Being a vast rural constituency, we have many schools, public primary schools. We have actually around 120 public primary schools in Kiharu. And I want to confirm here to the people of Kenya that all our public primary schools, the one we got, the ones we have built, children in a rural constituency like Kiharu, they go to school where all classrooms are tiled. Na sio tiles peke yake, ni kutengeneza shule inakuwa shule mzuri, over and above building the new ones that we have done. There is also another program we have done of landscaping our schools. We have currently done cabro to 75 schools across Kiharu. In fact, many times people do weddings in Kiharu, wanaendaga kupigiwa picha, photo session in our public primary schools. Jambo la pili ningetaka nitaje, tuko na shule 65, shule za secondary day secondary schools. And we have around 12,000 learners in those schools. We have a program we run called Kiharu Masomo Bora. And I want to confirm to Kenyans that fees across Kiharu in all our public day schools, fees is only 500 shillings per term. And learners eat in school, and they actually eat chapati every last Friday of the month. Na sio ile ya machini, hii ni chapati kabisa. And that is my entry point. Because allow me, my friends and Kenyans, because later I'll be giving crystal clear where I'll start politically and my participation. The few points I want to give is about what is the foundation of me doing what I'll be doing. What are my expectations insofar as the people of Kenya are concerned? And that is why that issue of education is my entry point. I believe as I stand here today, as we will hold hands with all Kenyans to deliver Kenya next year in August, we have done it in Kiharu to show that education can actually be reformed without necessarily adding taxes to Kenyans. By just reconfiguring the resources that we have. And in the education sector, these are my expectations, together with the people on the opposition side, whom will be seeking an opportunity to deliver Kenya next year. On the education sector, and I'll be giving just a summary. We start from ECD. I know it's a devolved function. The points I'll be giving, some may require changes in law. Others may require just an executive direction. Others just funding. So I'll give them knowing that some may actually require changes in our laws. ECD, as it is in Kenya, we have to change it from next year. We have to change it and have our ECD trainers and teachers either at a TSC or a TSC equivalent. I believe this is possible so that we have a body that is looking at the welfare of all ECD teachers, from hiring to transfers to remuneration, so that even as they seek their welfare, they can canvass that in the national arena. The second thing is on secondary schools. We have demonstrated it is doable. I want to confirm to Kenyans, the team I'll belong into, and the people we are going to hold hands with, we must, from January of 2028, deliver free basic education and that which is free. And we'll start that with our senior secondary schools. Of the 3.5 million Kenyans and learners in our senior secondary schools, we only require an additional 35 billion Kenya shillings. My proposal is as follows: that NGCDF will contribute 10 billion shillings into that kitty. The equitable share of our counties, because they also give bursaries, they also contribute 10 billion Kenya shillings. And that issue is that the national government to give in 15 billion Kenya shillings. 35 billion Kenya shillings is enough to give all school-going learners in our senior secondary schools free education, including meals. The other thing as we look into that is that we also must diversify the menus in our schools so that our schools become also centers of markets of our produce in our villages. Kama unatoka pahali Muthokoi iko, kama unatoka pahali kwa Githeri, pahali kwa Matoke, it is important that we incorporate even those kind of menus into our schools so that even farmers in our villages can find that as a local marketplace to sell their produce. Na wale wanatutazama wazazi wetu, mimi nasema ya kwamba nimeagazia na nimechukua Kenya mzima na nikaangalia fedha tuko nazo. Na zile binu napeana leo ni vitu tunaweza fanya bila kuongeza kodi kwa Wakenya. Na ndio nimesema next year lazima tukikoboa Kenya, in the January of 2028 lazima Kenya ipee watoto wa Kenya masomo bila malipo, tukianza na senior secondary schools, wasome bila malipo yoyote na wakuwe wanakula shule. Na nimefanya hiyo mahesabu na najua kwenye pesa itatoka. In our universities we have a challenge. Mimi nimepata fursa, nimeitwa na university students, na nimeweza kuona ya kwamba the demographics are changing. Wale wanasoma kama sisi kutoka familia hazijiwezi, nimeona ni gumu sana, kwa sababu nimeitwa na university students engineering, nimeenda kwa madaktari, na nikaona iko shida kubwa sana ya watu kutoka day schools, wanafunzi kutoka familia zile ziko chini sana kupata nafasi ya kufanya kozi kama hizo. Pia hapo kuna jambo tumefanya, ni vile tunapeana summary. The second thing, and I want to finish first with social response, because there are two things that are important, which are social investments. One is education, the other one is health. Education adds value to a human being, and health services labor, and the provider of labor is a human being. On the side of health, mambo ni mawili nimeona yale changamoto kubwa. Changamoto ya kwanza ni sisi viongozi tumeigiria mfumo ya healthcare. Unapata kama system ambayo ina manage healthcare ya Wakenya, wenyewe ni wenye tu wanaongoza nchi. Jambo ya kwanza, system kama hiyo ya IT, it must be owned by the government of Kenya. Jambo la pili, na hiyo ni changamoto kubwa, and I said I'm mixing language, is the issue of funding. I have looked at the amount of money we collect in our healthcare system, in whatever name you call it, the previous one of NHIF and the current one. And whatever we say, whatever we promise, the point of the matter is that there is a funding gap. And my proposal is as follows, that starting the year 2028, the amount of money Kenyans are contributing into NSSF, ile ya pensions, ya retirement, we have that percentage, we reduce it by 50%. That extra 50% reduction goes into healthcare, and that will add into our healthcare system an extra 40 billion shillings, ambayo itapea wa Kenya afya mwafaka na yenye hawatakuwa narudi kwa mfuko kulipa. Many families have been ravaged by bills. As much as we are talking as leaders, we must provide practical solutions, and that is my practical solution. Within the same kitty of around 40 billion additional, it is enough money to take care adequately of all emergencies that meet Kenyan families, and also the chronic illnesses that are reducing many families into beggars. Hiyo pesa inaweza kufanya hiyo kazi. Na jambo lingine katika healthcare, the same money is enough to upgrade enough institutions here in Kenya, healthcare institutions, so that we can bring India here into Kenya instead of Kenyans going to India. And we'll be transforming these institutions so that they serve Kenyans in the region also. The last thing I want to give in terms of healthcare, I have interacted with many doctors, and I have interacted with many healthcare professionals. Dear Kenyans, we must bite the bullet. It is clear that Kenya is ripe. Again, I give an example for an equivalent of TSC. Even in healthcare, Kenya must have the Kenya Doctors and Healthcare Workers Commission that will be managing the affairs of our doctors and healthcare workers. And I am saying this knowing that it is a devolved function, but laws are made for the man, not man for the law. You can imagine now that a doctor in Nyamira, if they get married in Kwale, they have to quit their job in Nyamira and seek a fresh job at the other place. If we have a national platform to manage our healthcare workers, this will be a good opportunity, first of all, to harmonize. Number two, also, to ease also their welfare in terms of transfers. And so that also, we have a united front when it comes to staffing of our healthcare facilities. The other issue I want to give, which have really troubled my mind, is the issue of jobs. The other day, I got a committee from one of the churches in my office. And they were coming to invite me for a function, a church function. There were two ladies in that committee. And just during the introduction, one lady even cried, even before they told me what the agenda of the meeting, why they had come to my office. Because the lady has a son who is a doctor, who is doing vibarua. The other lady in the same meeting has a pharmacist, also unemployed. Every Kenyan watching us tonight, all families, most of them are having a challenge of people who have gone to school. They are willing and able, but our country cannot provide an opportunity for them to work. Dear leaders and Kenyans, this has to change. And I'll give a few areas. I'll just give a few. One is that all the economies of the world that we study, from Singapore that we all hear about, I know you are almost laughing, to South Korea, to China, and all these countries, the basis of growth which creates a synergetic movement in the economy is manufacturing. We have to deliberately grow our manufacturing sector to secure jobs for the young people of Kenya. And in this respect, you cannot talk about manufacturing without talking about the cost of power. And that is why, in terms of manufacturing, the proposals I have come with are domiciled, number one, around getting power adequate in Kenya, but also cheap. One is that we have to totally liberalize power sector. And the kind of lip service you are hearing from government is not enough. Liberalization has to happen. If an industry can produce their power to use and they have access to sell, they must be at liberty to sell it to the next factory, so that we have as many producers of energy as possible, because abundance brings forth lower prices. The second thing, in terms of bringing the cost of power down in Kenya, we have an institution called KenGen, majority owned by the people of Kenya through the government. The current valuation of KenGen is around 75 billion Kenya shillings. Yet it is a company that produces roughly 2,000 megawatts of power. An equivalent of KenGen in other economies is valued more than 450 billion Kenya shillings. Just to cite like two, Transco Power in Nigeria, Geregu Power in Nigeria. Currently, there is a transaction ongoing in Philippines, a country called EDC, producing less than KenGen, yet the valuation is $5 billion US. What am I proposing? That immediately, and I'm talking about early 2028, we must leverage the $500 billion assets of KenGen. The government must advertise internationally and sell 35% of KenGen into a partner that knows much more about power, so that we fetch close to 150 billion Kenya shillings, and that money will go directly into producing more energy. The more we produce, the cheaper it will become. On manufacturing, the issue again of manufacturing policy, I am just trying to be brief. I have done a lot of research on the things I'm talking about, so I'm just giving top lines. Vitu tu zile summary. Manufacturing policy. Nimeweza kuangalia nchi kama South Korea iliweza kukua namna gani, nchi kama China from 1978, na nikaona ya kwamba nchi huwa haiachiliwi tu ijipeleke. Lazima serikali inaangazia ni wapi tunataka nchi iendelee. Na katika hiyo manufacturing huwa inaongozwa na kitu inaitwa manufacturing policy. And we've been able to check the kind of items that Kenya can tap into so that we can grow our manufacturing sector at a much faster pace than we are doing now. The other issue, you allow me just to go top line and summary, around jobs. All these points now I am giving are all about jobs. The other second point around jobs is hospitality and tourism. Currently, Kenya last year had maybe around 2.7 million international visitors. A country of 58 million Kenyans, abundantly blessed, well-positioned. I have looked at cases, for example, Morocco, a much smaller country than Kenya in terms of population. Even in terms of endowments, Kenya is much better. Morocco had 19 million visitors last year. Albania, a country with maybe a tenth of our population, they had 12 million visitors last year. Clearly there is something we can do so that we grow our tourism sector, diversifying what we offer, marketing Kenya better, and my target is that as a country we should be able to attract 10 million international visitors. What does that do? For every 3 million visitors, we create 1 million jobs. If we have 10 million visitors, we are talking about 3 million direct jobs. And every one direct job in hospitality and tourism creates 3 more jobs indirectly through agriculture, through transport, and the rest. It is clear that we can do more, attract more visitors into Kenya, and clearly create more than 3 million direct jobs for the great youth of Kenya who are watching us tonight. The other issue I want to highlight in terms of jobs again. All this I'm giving is about jobs because I've realized there is no way you can say you are growing an economy when many Kenyans qualified are idle. So allow me to highlight the issue of finance industry. Kenya has many banks, over 40. Whether big or small, they all make money. How then do we give an advantage to others that is in our country? My proposal is this way. Kenya must covertly frustrate the takeover of the Kenyan banks by international institutions. Covertly. Because this is a sector that clearly makes money. How do you give out a sector that makes money so easily? The second thing is that we must deliberately create an atmosphere where we can have big banks, Kenyan banks, competing regionally and continentally. Through our regulator, it is important that Kenya creates big behemoths, banks in Kenya that can compete continentally with banks like Standard Bank, like banks like Nedbank. And this, I have done what should be done by the regulator so that even as we grow competition in our finance industry, we also have big enough institutions that can compete across the continent because this fetches Kenya money from other markets. Tuko pamoja? Allow me so that I am sequential to highlight just briefly about agriculture. Agriculture currently is dominant in our economy when it comes to jobs. Many Kenyans in rural areas, precisely 70%, are employed in the agricultural sector. But the productivity is too low. Even with the fertilizer subsidy, Kenya is facing an imminent maize food shortage in the next 3 months. I can assure you, Kenya can only import maize to sustain ourselves in the next 3 months. Therefore, this shows where some policies can be enhanced and become better, we also need additional policies around agriculture. And just to give a few, when it comes to to food crops like maize, beyond fertilizer, we need also to participate by availing to our farmers cheaper or even much more subsidized certified seed of maize. Because there is the issue of production, but there is also the issue of productivity. Hata ukipea fertilizer begu ambayo ni sio mzuri sana, fertilizer can only do so much. So that is one of the areas to grow productivity and production. But holistically, when it comes to cash crops like tea and coffee, na najua kuna wakulima wengi wanatutazama hapa leo, wako katika eneo mingi za Kenya. Kenya haifanyi enough kwa kusaidia wakulima wetu kuzalisha vizuri coffee and tea, na pia kwa wao kupata mapato mwafaka. Na kwa hayo, beyond the fertilizer which we must avail to Kenyans, we must also do much more. Kenyans are also asking for more affordable pesticides and other inputs within agriculture. The second thing is about marketing. Yes, we grow this tea and coffee, but we can look at where we can fetch better prices, what kind of products. We must deliberately, as a country, embrace speciality, so that as we grow our tea, na tukikuza kahawa yetu, tunakuza ile iko na bei ya juu sana katika bei za kidunia na soko ya duniani. And agriculture has a potential to raise productivity to the millions of farmers who are engaged in it. Muniruhusu niende nikimaliza. Na nikiongea kwa sauti munisamehe, hii ni kitu ambayo imeumiza roho yangu sana. Because I think our country can do more, but there are some chokes and there are some bottlenecks that we have to deal with. Utaniruhusu niende kwa vitu zingine, sio sasa za kazi. Na so that I'm sequential, hizi vitu nimezifanya mwenyewe, lakini ningetaka naangalia ndio tusiache ile muhimu. Ukiangalia Kenya, na mimi nimepata nafasi na tazama na angalia kwa udani, ile shida inakuba Kenya kwa sasa ya juu zaidi ni integrity of leaders, corruption and governance. Dear Kenyans, kama kuna kitu lazima tufanye kwa dharura, ni kwamba we can no longer continue to stomach leaders who get elected and their ambition is to get richer than the leaders they replaced. Na nimeweza kufikiria sana, na mimi natoa mawazo yangu ya kwamba kiongozi akichaguliwa Kenya katika nyadhifa ya juu, immediately anakuwa ndiye mwanabiashara mashuhuri sana Kenya katika sekta zote. And you know, dear Kenyans, this issue I want to call patronage We are all paying the price of it. In the year 2022, we use a lot of cement in Kiharu because of construction that we do there. Cement, a bag of cement was around 550 shillings. Now it is over 50% higher than that for the same. But Kenyans also need to know, for every cement you buy, whatever the brand, 90% of the chance is that money is going into the pocket of one Kenyan. And I do not want to personalize this address, but I have thought about it keenly. Na hii ni jambo ambayo kama wa Kenya tutajiuliza. Kenya iko na tradition ya kwamba ukitoka kama kiongozi unaheshimiwa ukitoka ofisini. But the question we must ask ourselves as Kenyans, it is at what cost are we going to continue with this tradition? Even when it is glaring that people abuse power, must we continue to say as Kenyans that we want to continue those who leave power simply because they have gone, and yet it is glaring they abused power to make huge amounts of money? Hiyo ni jambo nataka tujiulize kama wa Kenya. Na kama kuna jambo ambayo inazuia nchi yetu kuenda mbele, ni viongozi ambao ni walafi, wanajipenda na wananyakua mali ya umma. Kenya must criminalize proxy investments. Kwa sababu viongozi wengi wanaandikisha yule wakitaka kuown vitu. We must criminalize proxy investments. Then the second thing, anyone seeking power, and especially in the presidency, you have to come in the open. You list all your assets. And by the time you leave power, we also have to review your assets. And then Kenya has to have a cap that there should never be assets transfer to those other people or to those leaders 25 years after they leave power. Hii ingine nitakibia kiasi, mambo ya madeni. Kenya kwenye iko sasa, wa Kenya wenzangu, kama kuna jambo ambayo inahujumu uchumi wetu ni mambo ya madeni. Kwa sababu sasa Kenya iko na deni ya shilingi 13 trillion shillings. Tunakopa shilingi bilioni 4 kila siku. Now Mkenya, every Kenyan, including the one who was born today, is born with a debt of 228,000 shillings. Na tunaendelea kukopa kwa kasi than before. There are many things I'm proposing, including holistically growing our economy. But the silver bullet that we have as a country to come out of this issue of debt, dear Kenyans, is oil and minerals. Kwa sababu Mungu amebariki nchi yetu. Na tuko na mafuta Turkana. Tuko na minerals. And the more the reason, dear Kenyans, we must guard these assets viciously. Na ndio mimi natoa onyo kwa viongozi wetu. Wale mnahusika na mambo ya mafuta Turkana, lazima mkuwe na huruma na Wakenya. Mambo ya mafuta ya Turkana inafaa isaidie kaunti ya Turkana na Kenya mzima, na itusaidie pia maneno hii ya madeni kubwa. Jambo ingine ya pili ambayo ni muhimu sana katika hiyo mambo ya madini, mambo ya kule Kwale, Mlima Hills, kuna watu pia wanamezea mate. And I want to tell them, because I know they are watching, we are not going to allow you to take over Mlima Hills for your own personal benefit. Because that is the silver bullet we have economically, oil and minerals, to deal with the issue of debt. Wacha niseme jambo ya equality. Sisi wote kutoshana kama wa Kenya. Na mimi my proposal is as follows. That from 2028 January, inua jamii ile tunapea wazazi wetu. Na mniruhusu nikisema figures zingine ziko chini kiasi. Mimi nimejaribu kuangazia vitu Kenya inaweza fanya kwa sasa bila kuongeza ushuru. Hii 2,000 shillings tunapea wazazi wetu, we must increase it in January of 2028 into 3,000 shillings and increase another 1,000 shillings after 3 years, because the bill of every 1,000 shillings is 12 billion Kenya shillings per year. The other thing ni maneno ya mahakama. Naanza kuongea haraka ndio tuite viongozi wengine watusalimie. Ndio tuweze kupeleka mambo ya mahakama ikue justice, so that we give justice to Kenyans across the board vizuri. My proposal is that we double the capacity of our judiciary in the next 5 years, but also number 2, tuweke kwa sheria that our judiciary must receive 1.5%, at the very least 1.5% of our national revenue per year. Hiyo jambo ingine nikienda kumaliza, mimi na propose hii mambo yote tuko na system kama ya e-citizen, ile ya SHA, ile ingine ya NTSA. Kenya to create a company called KDSS. This company to own all these entities. Then it gets listed in the NSC. But the government of Kenya to own 51% of that company. Ndio tuondoe hii mambo ya patronage. Ukienda hii citizen, ukienda hiyo ya SHA, ukienda zingine zote, unapata wanasiasa ndio wanafanya hizo biashara. It is better for the people of Kenya to own these assets other than being available for patronage. Muniruhusu wa Kenya sasa niende kwa mambo ya siasa. Kenya oye. And I want to be very direct and specific. Tuko pamoja? One, for avoidance of doubt. Just for avoidance of doubt. I know you all know we left government long time ago. And be associated with the wheelbarrow party, the UDA. Kwa sababu hivi hata naona hata wenye wheelbarrow wenyewe wataitoka waiwache. The second thing I want to sikizane tafadhali, because I want to be very direct. The second thing, mimi kama Dede Nyoro na wafuasi wangu kutoka leo nimeingia chama inaitwa People's Party of Kenya. Jambo la tatu ndio tuendelee vizuri. The third thing, I am glad that the membership of the People's Party of Kenya wamenipea nafasi na wakanieleza tukifanya mambo ambayo tunafanya kwenda mbele. Wameniuliza kwa sasa tuongoze hiyo maneno. Na mimi nimeitikia hiyo mwito. The third thing, as all the membership of the People's Party of Kenya, we have today joined the opposition. Tutulie. Haya, tutulie. Haya, tutulie. Tusikizane kwanza. Jambo, the other point I want to request the Kenyan people. Tunasikizana? Mukiangalia viongozi wale watapeleka Kenya mbele from next year. I also ask humbly the people of Kenya, muangalie pia People's Party. Pia wao wako na viongozi wanaweza shikana mkono na wengine na tukoboe Kenya August of next year. I also want to say this. I have taken time to consult almost all the opposition leaders. I have sat down with Peter Munya. I have sat down with Honorable Mother Karua. I have sat down with Honorable James Orengo. You know, my brother Sifuna is my brother. I have sat down with Honorable His Excellency Gachagua. I have sat down with Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. I have consulted even many others I could have forgotten. In fact, I want to confirm to you, I have had almost a near-long consultation with most of them, including almost for a whole year, Honorable Dr. Fred Matiang'i. And therefore, I want to say this, in all the people's tours, that is the People's Party tours, all the aspirants of the opposition are invited. Anytime. Wewe kama unatoka chama ambayo ni ya kukomboa Kenya next year, iko katika chama yote ambayo inasema hii serikali imedhulumu wa Kenya ya kutosha, na kwa sababu ya hiyo tamu yao ni moja peke yake. Ukisikia People's Party iko kwenu, unakuja, tunakupea nafasi, because we are all brothers and sisters. Na tutaangazia sana mambo ya kutrain aspirants katika People's Party. Aspirants wote wanasimama katika diwani or MCAs, wale wanasimama katika MPs na zinginezo. I'll be at the forefront of offering them advice and mentorship and trainings, so that as we recalibrate our country even up here, we also have credible leaders in our wards, in our constituencies, and in our counties. So I am for one united Kenya. All Kenyans, we cannot leave you behind. I'll be going across Kenya to many areas. Haswa, mimi nitaenda Uasin Gishu County, na nitaenda Nandi County, nitaenda Bomet County, nitaenda Elgeyo Marakwet, nitaenda Kericho. Munanitazama nyinyi wazazi wangu, kaka zangu, dada zangu. Mimi ni kijana yenu. Munajua kazi nilifanya tukisaidia hata rais mwenye amekalia kiti. Na mkaniambia mimi ni kijana yenu. Nitakuja kuwaeleza kwa nini after tumefanya hiyo kazi yote, kwa nini tunaenda kidogo tu Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua anarushwa nje. Tunaendelea kidogo Ndindi Nyoro nje. Tunaenda kiasi Mheshimiwa Mohamed wa kule Pwani. Hayo mambo yote nitakuja kuwaeleza, kwa sababu tukifanya hii jambo lazima tusikizane, na nataka niwaeleze kwa kinaga ubaga, because even you are our brothers and sisters. Tukikomboa Kenya tunawahitaji, na nimetaja hizo counties kwa sababu wako kwa roho yangu sana, na niko na jambo ya kuwaeleza. Niko na jambo hapa ya kuwaeleza. Tushikane mikono wote na hizo counties zote, kwenda Pwani, kwenda North Eastern, kwenda Nyanza, Mount Kenya region, zote hata zile sijachanja. Tushikane mkono tukomboe Kenya. Na hayo mengi, asanteni sana. Na sasa mutaniruhusu tuketi tafadhali. Mutaniruhusu sasa niite ndugu yangu Senator James Orengo atusalimie.
Thank you very much. I shall say the party leader of the People's Party. And my brothers who are in the political class, particularly Senior Council of Kongo Mwigeni, and the Member of Parliament for Ndindi, We have been working together. We have been working together in Linda Mwananchi. I must say, if I had a choice, I'd have asked Mheshimiwa Ndindi Nyoro to keep on talking. Keep on talking. Keep on talking, because of many politicians that I've known in this country, and I know pretty many politicians in this country who are living and those who have passed on, because I've had the privilege of being in most of the parliaments and served with great Kenyan statesmen. And I consider my brother and my younger brother or son, Ndindi Nyoro, to be one of the greatest political minds we have in the country together. Why am I saying this? Sometimes it's easier to talk about what is wrong, but it is more difficult to talk about how to fix it. And I have followed Mheshimiwa Ndindi Nyoro in his political life, because most of the time when I listen to his story and what he has to say is about fixing Kenya, unlike many other politicians. And most of his speeches are not made for funerals, speeches who are made for great events like today. I want to remind you that when ideas are right, then it doesn't matter where the idea is coming from or the age of that person who is bringing those big ideas. In late 19th, I think 18th century, there was a young man called Pitt the Younger. He became a British Prime Minister when he was 23 years old. And most that you see how the British government is run began in the years of Pitt the Younger. And I believe that Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, if he is in the right position, right at the center of this nation's governance, will get a lot of things right. We'll get a lot of things right. And I look forward working with you as Linda Mwananchi. We have been working before, but now as leader of a political party and me as a party leader of Linda Mwananchi, our work begins now, and I think we are going to sit together to work together. But he has talked about many of the crucial things that are facing our nation. I agree with you on the question of the power deficit. There's a nation to the northern part of Kenya, Ethiopia. Ethiopia is moving a lot faster in manufacturing and even expanding the economy because the power generation is much higher than Kenya. You imagine in Kenya, if you had an electric train and you took a train from Mombasa, the most likely thing is that by the time you get to Voi, there'll be a power cutout and you'll be out there in the wilderness. So I agree with you with a lot of the things that you say. But I believe that Kenya needs a proper foundation, and that foundation is already been laid in the Kenyan Constitution. If you have a leadership that is prepared to abide by the Kenyan Constitution, particularly Article 19, which says at the center of Kenya's democratic system is a Bill of Rights, I think we can make Kenya a better place. And you would not have a Kenya as put by the party leader of People's Party, that you would have a leader giving the kind of money that I see being given out at State House every other day. Even if you are Elon Musk, you cannot be given that kind of money without being asked where you have gotten that money. I think Kenyans, we are in a position now without fear to ask President Ruto where he's getting all this money. It is your money. It's not his money. It is our money. That is why when we talk about state capture, sometimes we talk about cartels or companies owning a nation. But in Kenya, we have a situation where one man has captured the state and captured the country. Even Mobutu never did that. So we must have a sense of national outrage, because we may not, at this rate, have a nation called Kenya by the time we get to the year 2028. And solving the problem does not begin with elections. Solving the problem begins with making Kasongo's life very difficult now, not next year. Amaniaje? Tuko pamoja? And when you say one term, it's a single solution, it's a simple bullet. Now, finally, because you know there are other leaders to speak here. When you are electing a president, and I want to share this from the bottom of my heart, next time you go and elect a president, you are not electing a president for a region. You are not electing a president for a tribe. You are electing a president for the Republic of Kenya. Keep that in mind. And if you keep that in mind, Kenya will be in a better place than we ever have been. I think when we elected President Kibaki, I think the first time when we elected a president directly, that there was some thought about who we were electing, I think is when we were electing President Kibaki as the President of the Republic of Kenya. We wanted somebody who can bring lasting and enduring solution to Kenya, not to a region in Kenya. So, the big business that we have moving forward, and as we work together as a opposition in trying to bring a solution, even us as political parties and political movements, we must remember that the next time we elect a president, he must be the president of the Republic of Kenya, so that ethnicity and tribalism does not become a constant problem in this country. I pray that together we can walk this journey and make Kenya a great nation for all of us, instead of having a nation that serves the whims and privileges and interests of one person. I can tell you that all what Mheshimiwa Ndindi Nyoro has talked about, and I look at the economy and the social pillars that he has talked about, it is doable. In the manufacturing sector, it is doable. When a great Frenchman went to England in the 18th century, he said England was a nation of shopkeepers. Within 80 years, England was the biggest manufacturing country and industrial country, the biggest in Europe. I think Kenya, if we can do all that Ndindi Nyoro has offered us, especially the solution that he has put on the table, Kenya can indeed become a manufacturing nation with an economy that is not made for a few. Like J.M. Karigu said, is an economy that had 7 millionaires and 7 poor Kenyans. It is possible to have a Kenya in which we can provide for everybody's need, and that can be done. So I pray, let's walk this journey together, and I know Mheshimiwa Ndindi Nyoro, we are going to work together. I can say that. So asanteni sana, is a great evening, and you should keep on talking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senior.